Welcome back to this channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Marin, and this is Thankful Thriftiness. It's a really chill day at my house. We've had a few busy days right in a row. I am exhausted. So I thought I would just make myself up something yummy to drink, and we could have a little sit-down chat about homeschooling. What I have here is a London Fog. It is my all-time favorite beverage. It's Earl Grey tea with lavender, and I sweeten it with maple syrup, and I added some milk, and it is so delicious. I don't make it much. I should really make it more often. Either way, a little bit of my background and why I wanted to record this video is I am a homeschool graduate. I was homeschooled almost all the way through my educational career, however you want to say it. I did attend private school in kindergarten, and I attended public school for half of the year in 5th grade. But other than that, my mom was my teacher, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I am seriously so thankful that my parents took the time and the energy and put it into teaching us kids. All my sisters agree we can't imagine life any other way. I wanted to make this little video as an encouragement to especially the new homeschool mamas or those considering homeschooling in this next school year, because my husband mentioned to me that he saw some statistics that a lot more people are homeschooling this year than in years previous, which is super exciting, but I also am concerned that it might be a little bit nerve-wracking for some people to get into. There are a lot of misconceptions about schooling at home, a lot of things I think that homeschool mamas can tell themselves that simply isn't true. The first thing I want to tell you is that mama, you've got this. God made you to be the best teacher for your children. That's why he gave your children to you. You do not have to be a PhD or anything crazy to be a teacher to your children, to be the best teacher your children can have. And I want to share with you in this video a few things that will hopefully encourage you and help you feel more confident as you make decisions in your homeschooling journey and as you school your children at home. Throughout my entire life, whenever homeschooling is brought up in a conversation to my family or myself, two big concerns come up. Well, actually three. Number one is people will ask, how do you socialize? And I'm here to tell you, it's easier than you think. Unless you literally stay at home and go nowhere, I believe that homeschooling actually gives you a better opportunity to socialize than being stuck in a classroom with a bunch of kids your own age. Because we were around my parents so much, and also because my dad worked from home, we had the opportunity to have a lot of conversations with adults and also those younger than us, which if you think about it, speaking with people who have a higher level of intelligence and just more knowledge of life than yourself, and speaking with those younger who are still learning things that you already know, adds a lot more to your socialization skills than just talking with kids your own age and socializing within your own intelligence level and with your own level of understanding of the world. It kind of cracked me up whenever this was asked, because literally in order for that question to be asked, I had to be having a conversation with someone. So often we would just reply, well, I'm socializing with you right now, aren't I? The second most common rebuttal, so to speak, that we would get when encouraging someone to homeschool was that their children would never listen to them, so they could never do it. My response to that would now be, that is terrifying. You need to bring your kids home right now and start homeschooling, because if they don't learn to listen to you, who is currently the authority figure in their life, how will they ever learn to listen to other authority figures throughout the rest of their lives? Think about it. If your kids can't listen even to you, and God put you in their life, God put them in your home, how are they going to consistently listen to bosses, to spouses in the future? Granted, that was not always my response to that, but that will be now, and now that I've actually thought it through, because it really is a very sad thing that a lot of people mention. The third is mentioned almost as frequently, and that is that someone would tell us they could never homeschool because they could never teach high school. They couldn't teach high school math and science, I think in particular. However, we've noticed that that really isn't a concern that should be had for a couple of reasons. First of all, if you teach your kids a good work ethic and solid study skills at a young age, by the time they get to high school, they're pretty much self-taught. Then there are also a plethora of curriculums and resources available to help teach your kids more advanced subjects. For example, for math, we use Teaching Textbooks, which is an online software program, and it did the grading for us. It had lessons. It also had a visual actual textbook for learners who do better writing things on paper, such as myself. And it was really just a great tool, and none of us struggled that much in high school math. Also a disclaimer, my sisters and I are not brainiacs and geniuses at all. We're just kind of your average student. So please don't take it as, well, they could do it because they're like super smart or something crazy, but I don't know if we could, because literally, like, we aren't anything special. There are also a bunch of additional resources available to parents who don't feel equipped to teach their children tougher subjects that they are struggling with, such as chemistry. There are co-ops available. There are plenty of online classes that they could watch through. Even just typing something into Khan Academy can be very helpful. They have really great videos that just break things down. You do have to be a little careful with some of the agendas behind some of the things, especially in literature, but it was very helpful for things such as math. My sister and I, for example, both took the same chemistry curriculum through Apologia, and my sister took it through a co-op. And so she got the additional knowledge from doing the experiments with other people and having a teacher that helped her through anything she needed to learn. So if you don't feel equipped to teach your student a certain subject in high school, or even just certain concepts, there are so many even free resources available to you to help them get a firm grasp on the subject. So now that I've talked about the general fears of why people don't want to start homeschooling and how those fears really can be alleviated, I want to mention a few of the amazing perks of homeschooling that I am so eternally grateful for. First of all, I literally wouldn't even be making this video right now if I hadn't been homeschooled. If I had been in a classroom where I was stuck for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 40 hours a week, right? It's like a work week. I wouldn't have had the time to learn how to make videos. My mom would not have been able to teach us as much as she did about homemaking and general thriftiness. The responsibilities of adult life, I feel like, would have slapped me in the face a lot harder, because when you're in a schoolroom, you're there for an amount of time that I feel like is unnecessary. The reason being is a lot of homeschool kids get their work done in about half the time because they're not waiting for other students to catch up and finish their work. You really don't have to waste any time at all, and you can move on to learning other skills and other subjects outside of scholastic learning. Also, learning from my parents' life experiences, like how to balance a checkbook, how to do a family budget, how to get dinner on the table in the evenings for my husband when there's like no food in the house because you haven't been to the grocery store in over a week. These are all things my mom and dad had the time to teach us and took the time to teach us because we were already home with them and they were already accomplishing these adult tasks. Another awesome perk is if you have more than one child, the older children can be involved with teaching their younger siblings. This gives them the confidence and really solidifies even more elementary principles in their minds. And it also helps build that sibling relationship and give the older sibling teaching skills, which are going to be absolutely valuable when they themselves are parents. As I mentioned before, the socialization that happens throughout homeschooling gives your kids confidence in the adult world to communicate and to socialize. I know that's contrary to popular belief because it's kind of hard to imagine, but trust me when I say it's true. Now, don't get me wrong, I've definitely run into families where they did not try to teach their kids how to socialize, and it shows. But as long as you don't just stay locked at home and you do force your kids to order their own food at restaurants and have conversations with adults, they will be just fine. The most important thing to my parents, and the number one reason that they homeschooled us, was so that they could teach and instill in us the values that our family believes right alongside our school work. It wasn't even separated. It was just all intertwined in a beautiful way that really helped us build a foundation for our faith. My parents are Christians, and now all of my sisters and I are as well. And my parents were able to teach us from the Word of God, from the Bible. They were also able to teach us true history and not leave out any of the Christian aspects that are currently taken out in the school curriculums. You don't have to be Christian to appreciate the fact that you would be able to teach your children your own beliefs and your own values, because the school system has removed many of the things a lot of parents want to instill in their children. My dad also worked from home most of my life, and so that was an extra blessing that opened up the ability for us to have family Bible studies in the morning and for us to learn so much just from listening to him and from studying the Word of God ourselves. The curriculums my parents chose to use were also heavily influenced by Christian values as it was. And so we got to really have a scholastic experience that lined up with what we believe. Now, if there's anyone watching who says, that's terrible, you're indoctrinating your kids, you're forcing them to believe something, let me tell you, the public school system is doing the exact same thing. Let's not even get started on that tangent, because wherever you go, there's going to be an agenda behind it. There's going to be a value system taught. And I think most parents would prefer to be the ones teaching their kids, because if you don't teach them, someone else will. And chances are it's not going to be what you believe. When I spent some time in the public school in 5th grade, my mom learned that it's actually easier for a Christian to take the time to homeschool their child and teach them, as Deuteronomy talks about, when you rise up, when you lie down, when you walk in the way, and etc., than to public school your child and have to teach them all those things when they get home after they've spent an entire day at school, and also unteaching them things that go against your values. For example, 5th grade was when they taught evolution in the school I attended. So when I came home at night, I had to read a bunch of books by Answers in Genesis. I was pesking my parents with lots of questions, which they were happy to answer, but my parents realized that if I was just at home, they'd be teaching me these things once. They wouldn't have to unteach me and then reteach me again and hope that what they were instilling in me would counteract what I had been taught, and where I was spending 40 hours a week in the public school. So although homeschooling is not easy, and it is a huge time commitment and a huge commitment of everything else, it was a lot easier to just keep us at home versus having us be gone all day, then coming home and trying to fulfill what the Word of God tells parents to do in regards to teaching their children. Please don't take this as me saying that you absolutely have to homeschool your children. This is an encouragement to those who have chosen to and those who are considering it. I do understand that there are some situations where both parents have to work, in which case a Christian school, for those of you who are Christians, would be, I think, definitely still better than putting your kids in the public education system. I also recognize that there are amazing teachers out there. Okay, my sister and I were blessed to have amazing teachers when we were in school. They were awesome. However, they still weren't our mom. They still weren't our dad. They had our best interest in mind as much as they could, but only a parent will really know what their child needs. Only a parent will really understand the type of learner their child is and be able to create a curriculum and experience that caters to it. There are auditory learners, there are visual learners, there are so many different types of learners, and only you as a parent know your child and know exactly what they will need to thrive, to absorb the best and the most information that they can during their time in school. It's not easy, and as much as I know, just as a graduate, again, I haven't homeschooled any kids yet, but it is worth it, and my mom would tell you the same exact thing. Let me know in the comments below if you'd be interested in doing a Q&A with my mom, because obviously it might seem weird that someone who hasn't homeschooled kids is making a video like this, although my mom would agree, and I will be running this video past her before I post it. She would agree with what I've said in this video. I also understand that it might be more helpful coming from her. Thank you all so much for watching, and for you parents who are currently homeschooling or considering it, I am praying for you, and I am so excited for you to see the results of your hard work and be able to see your kids learning in such an exciting way, and that you get to be a part even more of their growing up and of shaping who they will become as adults. God bless you guys, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.